on what you've gone for. For now, though, let's move on to another match. Manchester United against Aston Villa. Let's hear from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Dean Smith.
It's important the first, say, 2 months until this international break that you've not given teams a head start. And so far, 13 points. That's a decent return. We've scored quite a few goals. Still things to work on, definitely, we know that, and there'll be bigger challenges ahead. But we've laid a bit of a foundation to build the momentum, and of course that's what we hope to do against Aston Villa. They started with the first game was a defeat, of course, but then they've really hit form, and I think they've deserved more points than what they've got.
I've seen David De Gea's interview this morning, and they've got title aspirations, and a club like Manchester United should have. They've just brought in Ronaldo, Varane this summer, Sancho. So, and that's to add to a glittering squad already. So, it's a massive club with a massive history, and they're going to be pushing to try and challenge the likes of Liverpool, Manchester City and Chelsea, and our job is to go there and again go toe-to-toe like we did with Chelsea.
It's another lunchtime game in the UK at Old Trafford, Manchester United against Aston Villa, and we talked about that League Cup defeat for United in the week against West Ham, Jolyon. How can that affect the momentum as they come into the league? Because they're still unbeaten in the league, it's all going rosy in the league, but can that affect momentum?
I don't think it will. It can, but I don't think it will. Players are really good at forgetting negative results, especially when they're in other competitions. And especially, again, it's going to be a totally different team, but they should be title contenders. They should be thinking they can win it. And he scores goals like when there's not even a chance on. But we were just speaking there, me and Matt, and I'm not sure they're able to rely on their defensive side of their game yet. I think they've kept one clean sheet so far this season. So.
Why is that when they've just brought in Varane? Is it just taking a bit of time for it to all settle and gel together? Yeah. Because when you look at that back four on paper, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, Rafael Varane, that's a pretty solid defence.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've just spoken about two teams and how strong their midfield play is. And I think that can have a big impact on the back four. You can sign the best centre, you can have the best centre-back pairing, but it's such a package. And you look at Chelsea, you look at the role that Jorginho and Kante play, or Kovacic, how he gets after the ball, the decision-making, all of that, the possession that City will keep. They very rarely give the ball away in poor areas of the pitch. And I think all that adds up. And have United nailed that area of the pitch? Not for me. Yeah. I don't think it's at the level of the rest of the team, for sure.
I completely agree. That if you think about when City don't win matches, or like the Southampton game, it's up and down. Everyone's running all the time. That's what Pep doesn't like. Chelsea, obviously, they don't do that. They're very solid. I can think of 3 United games already that have been like that. Southampton, where they drew. Wolves, where they were quite lucky to win. And West Ham, where they were quite lucky to win.
And Leeds.
Yeah.
Even though they won that game. But yeah, as you said, it's the style. And I think that's down to the manager. I don't think he's... I don't want to sound disrespectful, at the level of a Tuchel or a Pep in terms of having a philosophy that is that dominant. I just think it's more of we've got great players and we will get them out there and they will contribute to the outcome of the game.
Is that what's winning Manchester United games at the moment, the fact they have such world-class individuals?
Yes, I would say. I think that they've got a front four that is as good as it comes.
Anyone,
to be honest, I think, when you look at Ronaldo's goals down the middle, Pogba now adopting this position on the left.
King.
Bruno Fernandez, who I think is a fantastic player. Sancho, Greenwood. You can go on. It's an amazing attacking lineup. And like you said, defensively, they've got a great centre-back pairing. The goalkeeper's starting to find his form again. I think he's been really struggling for 18 months, 2 years, David De Gea. But, I'm pleased to see him back in a bit better form and a bit more confidence. But, it's the midfield area for me that I don't think that they're quite in that place.
Could that cost them the title then, not having that player?
Yeah, I don't think they will win it, which is crazy. And you just had the table up there, and they've got the same points as Chelsea and Liverpool. And we talked about Chelsea being so good and so formidable, and we will talk about Liverpool being the same. I know I will. I still talk about City being better, even though they're worse off in the table. But it's just about feeling. We mentioned those games where they won, but it could have gone the other way. I don't think you can sustain that over a full season. Ronaldo will score them goals, but we've seen that already. Those goals aren't necessarily contributing to wins because you can't. in a way, papering over cracks. And I know that seems very harsh to say about a team who's got basically the same record as two great teams who are leading the table. But I don't think United will win the league anyway. And is it because of that? It's certainly a big reason. But also, like Jolien said, and it's harsh to say, but I don't think Solskjaer's is on the same level. He's still really good.
Yeah.
Because you don't last that long at a club like United with such expectations and such quality players.
Yeah, I think he's exactly what they needed. They needed a culture change and a morale lift, and I think that is the best person for it. But in terms of the level of
the other three coaches in that top four,
the tactician level of it,
phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a different calibre.
So despite what we've said about the quality that Manchester United have going forward, what have you made of Jadon Sancho's start to life at Old Trafford?
I think it's been okay. I don't think it's been anything beyond that, personally. I think he's had a decent start. You know, it does take the gloss off it when you sign Ronaldo. You know, you can look at it and go, well, why haven't we been talking that much about Sancho? I've barely spoken about Varane that much, but Ronaldo has almost stolen the limelight. And when you look at what he's done, rightly so. You know, who's going to talk about anything else about Manchester United other than Cristiano Ronaldo at the moment? But I think Sancho will definitely play his part. His assist capability is fantastic.
I think we've got to be patient in terms of analysing it too early. But I'll tell you what hasn't helped him. The Ronaldo signing means that Greenwood can't play up front and he plays on the right. And that is Sancho's best position for me. Like, they've talked about signing him for, 2 seasons, and they needed someone to fill in on the right. And they've brought him, and he hasn't played on the right yet. He's played on the left because of Ronaldo's come. So Greenwood has to stay on the left, on the right. So that's hindered him. But I think there's only one man you're going to talk about when you talk about United, because he's so dominant.
I think Sancho's best position is on the right.
Yeah.
I think it's where he does his most damage. He's comfortable finding those passes, those assists,
and he
coming from that
puts
side.
The ball in the box, which defenders don't like to defend crosses, and he's great at putting the ball in, especially on delivery.
Yeah, that's where he got his most joy at Dortmund, didn't he, playing there? What about in goal for Manchester United? It's been here for Dean Henderson, and then it's been David De Gea. Is it now David De Gea?
You can't drop him when he's playing this well. Like, I don't know if confidence was behind the issues over the last 2 years or whatever. It's easy to understand that, but you certainly wouldn't want to risk taking him out of the team now for no reason. There's no reason whatsoever to take him out of the team at the moment. Henderson's probably unlucky with getting COVID just before the season started.
He must be gutted.
But exactly. Because he may have started the season, or at least it would have been, you play this game, you play that game, and see how you get on. But De Gea's got his chance, as so many players do in their careers, and the other one falls by the wayside a bit.
And he deserves it. Well, he was Player of the Year for like 5 years in a row. So, and that shouldn't happen at United when you're trying to win titles. Your goalkeeper shouldn't be Player of the Season. But at this moment in time, Henderson has no qualms in David De Gea being the man.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has spoken about David De Gea coming back early to train more. And when you're putting in that extra effort, that also goes a long way. It surely must do.
I think he's stepped back in the summer. And he's looked at the end. He had such a disappointing end to last season. I mean, the Europa League just topped it off. What happened in that? He'd lost his position.
It was like that was set up to be a practical joke at his expense, wasn't it?
It was
miss all these penalties, and then you can take it, and you can miss.
And you can miss. And it was unbelievable, really. And I think it was a rough time for him. So when that happens, I think you can step back and actually think, well, I need to make some changes.
He's like fourth choice Spain goalie as well.
Yeah.
He's not even in the Spanish squad, so it must have been a hard time for him to deal with and a hard thing to deal with. But like you're saying, he's had
to make changes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't surprise me that he's probably analysed his maybe what he was doing off the field, how he was training, every little facet. And he's looked at it, and it doesn't surprise me that somebody said he's in at training, he's working hard, because he realises that if you want to stay at the top, you have to, and it's no different for him.
Can I just jump in with a question in terms of, because whenever a player has a bit of a revival like that in the media, we've actually got an article on De Gea in The Athletic today, and it's about, he came back slightly early for training and did a load of physical work. But are we too quick in the media to say, he must have changed this? If you ever just had like an upturn in form where you've been doing exactly the same thing, and
because you wouldn't wait for it, would you? You would always change something.
You always change.
It's not going well. You think, I need to change something. I need to improve something. Work a little bit harder in one area, and then that's what happens. Your fortunes change and you subconsciously think it may be because I'm doing this. So then you don't stop doing it, and you keep doing it forever.
I think his was mental. I really do, and I think the physical training.
Probably
yes, he's got better physically, but it's giving him more belief mentally, and I think he feels he's ticking the boxes, doing what he needs to do to be world class. And whether he went away from that, I don't know. Whether he just had a dip in confidence, but he looks to be far more like the David De Gea that you mentioned was winning Player of the Season year after year.
Yeah, well, how much of a challenge will Aston Villa be for Manchester United this weekend? They got a really impressive victory at Everton last week, an excellent second half performance. What was key to that?
No, I think the energy that Villa showed in this game, and even against Chelsea, there was unfortunate enough the scoreline kind of flattered Chelsea a little bit, but
Goalkeeper was very good in that game, wasn't he?
Yeah, and again, I feel United style will suit Aston Villa. Energy, spaces for players to run into, and pace. And I think the players that they have now, it's not as predictable when you play Aston Villa. You're not just thinking, well, we nullify, we stop Aston Villa. That isn't the case anymore. They have a lot of threats in different areas.
Do you agree with that, Matt?
Yeah, I think fair play to replace a player that was important as Jack Grealish for a manager can be tricky. And I think that to make the team stronger isn't easy. And I think Villa may well have be on the way of doing that. I mean, it's a big shout because Grealish was such a huge player for them and everyone loved what he did and rightly so. But I think as a unit, it's interesting he went to a back three, didn't he?
Yeah.
He played a back three.
I think it made sense though.
Centre-back partnership's been good.
Yeah, well, it hasn't. It's been okay. There's been
conceded
mistakes.
7 goals this season. Is that an area of concern you think Villa would have? Because last year the goalkeeper was excellent, but conceding 7 already, probably not.
Yeah,
what
that's
maybe
the thing.
Villa fans
And he's
expect.
brought Axel in, so he's not coming to not play. And Mings is obviously Mings. But for me, Konza is their most comfortable defender. I think he's their best defender. So it makes sense for them to change it. And again, it suits more of their players. I think the fact that their fullbacks, because Cash is exciting to watch and he gets forward. I think it suits their players in that system more so.
Does it allow them to play Watkins and Ings?
Yeah.
Which I think another thing he's looking at, thinking I need to get both these players on the pitch.
Yeah.
So, you know, the system change, it worked against Everton, but, you know, it's going to remain to be seen as to what formation he's going to continue with, whether it's going to be a 3 or go back to a 4.